speaking of disasters, Gooch had a horrible game. I would say he's pretty much was the goat of the match. He looked totally out of sync with the rest of the guys in the back four. He had some good moments too, but you know what? He looked slow getting back. He sometimes was caught keeping somebody else onsides that shouldn't have been onsides. And yeah, you can chalk that up to a lot of things because, obviously he hasn't played for the national team much for a good long while, and it's going to take him a while. I don't think we have time for that. I thought, and I think, that Cameron and Goodson have shown us enough, and I think that until Gooch starts showing it in practice, let's play the guys that are playing well. Let's play Goodson. Let's play. I know those guys have had their own bad moments, but they didn't have a whole game of playing bad. They just had bad moments. They didn't play a whole game horribly. And Gooch, really, honestly, he almost played even his passes to Boca Negra, who's standing 20 yards from 15 yards away. They were they were behind him. They were too slow in some cases to take advantage of an opening. I mean, it was just poor all the way around.
And here's the way I'm looking at it. In my opinion, I think Gooch had mental issues right after the PK incident. Ever since, not saying that was early in the match, so it could have just been chalked up as just a terrible game as a whole. Right. But I think the PK really got into his head.
PK was though.
He was trying to retract his arm. I agree, but his arm was extended out at the time. Mm. I don't know. I agree with Klinsmann at this point. It's early in the match, and it's a freaking friendly.
Yeah, really? You're going to call that?
There's no need to call that.
There was no way
he's going
to move his arm out.
The ref is a whole nother issue to talk about.
Yeah.
But still, just after that, Gooch's game went to hell. Yeah. It really did. And like I said, it was early in the match, so I can't.
It was like 12 minutes.
I can't really say if his game was really that amazing beforehand because we didn't have much time to really to analyze it. Yep. But I think the PK incident, I think the call on him just sort of got to his head, and every single time he got the ball, I was just like, oh my God, get rid of it now, please.
Right.
Just get rid of it.
Well,
it was bad.
Yeah, well, a lot of people also said Donovan had a horrible game. But like Torres, Donovan suffered from the same problem. Mm-hmm. Okay. He held on the ball too long sometimes. No, he couldn't get by a single person. But honestly, they were marking him. They knew he was the key guy, and they knew as soon as he touched the ball, they were not going to give him any outlet space or any room to run. Yep. And unlike Torres, Donovan did stay wide for the most part. But there was no room out there. I mean, they closed him down immediately. And when you don't have Bradley and Jones supporting you, you have Jones and Adu. I mean, it just shuts down your options. Really, You can't just say, well. Especially the game Donovan had before. It was a great game. I don't think that you can say that Donovan that his horrible game was all his fault. I just don't think you can.
No, I agree with you 100%. He was being man-marked completely. Once he got the ball, he had 1-2 players pressuring him nonstop. He didn't have the outlets. Yeah. When his best option is a good 20 yards away, it's not the greatest of options. So,
right.
We've talked about this entire show. I think that one change in the center of the pitch really made the big difference.
Yep.
And I hope we don't see that change again.
I hope not. Bradley still played well, though, as a distributor.
No, Bradley played extremely well.
He still played well, even though I don't think that's the role he should play.
But,
yeah.
No, I agree.
The men of the match, to me, though, there are two guys. Hercules Gomez and Fabian Johnson. I hate to say this, but good riddance to Timothy Chandler because we really don't need him. I mean, Fabian Johnson proved that. Unless he gets injured, of course, then we do need him. But we still have Eric Lehigh.
Exactly.
So, I think Fabian Johnson, just to me, I was wondering if I feel really comfortable and how many games it would take for me to feel really comfortable. It's taken 2 games for me to feel absolutely confident that guy is going to be playing left back for us in the World Cup, and I would be completely... Huh?
I said forever.
Forever. I mean, he's that good. He is that good. Fabian Johnson was fabulous. His pass, that whole Bradley through pass to Fabian Johnson to Gomez with the goal. Perfect. And how long did you and I have to go on, not that we made the difference or anything, but how many people were out there along with us screaming, Gomez, 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 Gomez. He got his shot. He made it count.
One shot.
He was great.
I was going to say, he had a great game regardless of the goal, but he had one true opportunity in front of the goal, and he did what he has always done. He finished the goal.
Yep.
And it always confused me why he was never getting more playing time or more call-ups by the national team, because what he is he's a natural finisher.
Yep.
He might not be, the best target striker. He might not have the most energy to chase down balls. But you know what? You put him in that box and you put a ball through the box, if it gets anywhere near him, he's getting a touch on it, and most likely it's going to be in the goal.
Yeah, and then energy compared to what? Altidore? He had more. He showed more energy to me than Altidore.
Well, two completely different strikers, so I don't want to compare the two. He has more energy than Altidore, but Altidore is a far superior target striker, and he's a bigger body in the box.
He's a bigger body. I don't know if he's far superior. I think that is
far superior target striker.
I don't know. I mean, he holds the ball better than Gomez does. I'll give you that. I mean, Gomez didn't even get a chance to show us whether or not he can hold the ball. Frankly,
true.
He
I
really
agree on that. I think Josie's a far better target striker option than Gomez. I think Gomez is a poacher finisher. Again, two completely different players, two completely different strikers. Whether or not Klinsmann's going to utilize both of them at the same time, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Whether or not we go to a 4-2-2, or if maybe Gomez is utilized as one of the three strikers in the situation, which we talked about in a previous episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you would have heard me say this a couple of years ago, or even a year ago. I kind of like the formation we're playing right now. I think one striker works for us, as long as I know. Wow.
Label it a 4-3-3, so technically we have three strikers.
It's a 4-5-1. I'm sorry. It's a 4-5-1 or whatever.
The wingers in this situation play a more advanced role. It's not the typical 4-5-1 that we used to play.
But it's not a 4-3-3, I can tell you that. No, it's not a traditional 4-3-3. But the point being that we can play with one striker, and it works as long as we have a strong center defensive midfielder who allows the other two more free center midfielders, Jones and Bradley, to operate in the roles that we discussed earlier, distributor and attacker. One of them turns into an attacker, almost a second striker or a CAM. Jones, how many times was he way up the field versus Scotland?
I saw him further than Donovan a lot of the time.
Exactly. I mean, and that's what we want. It's okay. You can play all, and we talked about this another. Jimmy Conrad came on here and said, "Hey, you guys keep talking about formations. You're too wrapped up in the formation." Well, you know what? When the formation is transformative, like it was able to evolve the way it did versus Scotland, it makes a lot of sense, and I don't care what you call it because it works. So we get to two things. Jonah Freeman article, which basically says the United States didn't play with a big enough pair of balls in the beginning of the game, which is totally right. They didn't.
True.
And Jones brings us that bite that we need. Totally true. I thought Gomez also gave us some bite, too. I thought
Gomez talked about it, too, yeah.
He didn't back down either. So those two guys, they get a pass for me. And then, Klinsmann comes out and says, you know what? We gave them way too much respect, number one. Number two, we need to play nastier. We need to step on their toes. We need to hurt players if necessary. And we need to make our case better to the refs. If that means all 10 players, bum rushing the ref, then that's what needs to be done. And then you have a comment from Landon Donovan, which really kind of irked some people. It says, and I quote, "It's not really in our character as Americans," Donovan told MLSsoccer.com on Wednesday night. "We try to play the game fair, and we don't really dive. We don't do those kind of things." Well, what Klinsmann is saying is you need to start doing those things, and you need to get nastier. And nastier, we all know what that means. I would have liked to have seen some more nasty from the guy that's usually nasty for us, and that was Gooch. But then he got that early penalty. Maybe that did freak him out, because he's usually our nasty guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, that Jones tackle on the sideline?
That was great.
Oh, that was a great. In all honesty, I didn't see anything really that dirty about it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, neither.
Connected with the ball, and mind you, I think it was his left foot that followed through and connected with with Neymar's ankles. So maybe that's what it was. But that ref was dishing out cards for the silliest things ever.
Yeah.
But
Jones was just saying, "Hey, hello, Marcelo. You just you're all pissy and you're kicked the ball at Dolo's head, and you're being kind of an ass. I'll let you know.
Well,
we're not screwing around either, buddy.
Yeah.
I play for Schalke in the Bundesliga. I'm no pushover, and I'm going to let you know who's in charge here. And you know what? We need more of that. You mess around with my team, I'm going to mess around with yours."
And that was the thing that we talked about the U23s.
Mm-hmm.
We talked. There was that whole article out about it that after Boyd got pegged in the head, nobody came rushing to his side.
Yep.
There was no grit with the team. No, hey, you're gonna attack my player. I'm gonna blah blah blah. And we saw that with a couple players, like you mentioned. I saw Gomez and Jones all in scuffles throughout the match.
Yep.
There's a foul, and all of a sudden people are shoving each other. And
but then Gomez,
they were always in there. It's great to see because that's what we want to see. We want to see the heart. We want to see the determination. Like, hey, don't beep with us.
Yeah, but then Gomez gets surrounded by like 5 players, and who comes to Gomez's? This is early in the game. Who comes to his assistance? He's suddenly surrounded by 5 Brazilian players. They're all pushing him around, and there's like one American guy. I think it was Jones. Is the only guy that showed up to help him. Where's the rest of the dudes? Show some freaking balls, man. Grow a pair of freaking testicles. Listen, we need more Pistons, circa 1980s, Detroit Pistons. That's what we need. I'm not saying we need to be dirty, but let's be honest here. We need to gain every advantage we possibly can against a team like Brazil, and they're out there playing kind of mildly gritty, and we're not being gritty. It's our role as the underdog to play some gritty soccer, to be a little nastier. This is exactly what Klinsmann had to say after this game. It's exactly what a player like Jones would concur with. A player like Gomez would say exactly. That is exactly what we need.
And Gomez did agree with that too.
Yeah,
he came out in the post game and flat out said it.
Yep. And you know what? Where's Bradley? Bradley's a ballsy guy. I want to see him get in more faces again. I don't want him to go back to getting a yellow card every 2 games or anything like that. But I want to see him be more aggressive. I want the whole team to show like a big pair of balls. I want them to go out there and say, I don't care if you're Brazil. I don't give a where you were born. I don't care. I really don't care. And you know what? That we used to have that. We used to have that kind of working class attitude.
It's all we had.
Yeah, because it's all we had.
It's all we had.
Back in the John Harkes, Winalda. What gave those guys? What gave them the right to have swagger? What gave them the right to be, tough guys? Nothing, right? We hadn't earned anything yet. But those guys showed up at a game, and they're like, I don't care if you're England or Brazil. I don't give a crap. You throw an elbow, we're throwing elbows.
Yeah.
Did you catch the high school kid who supposedly got very fuzzy video of Bigfoot in Idaho?
No, I didn't catch that.
You know why you didn't catch it? Well, it was news.
It was on TV?
It was on TV. It was on the news. It was on Yahoo. But you know what, Brett? It's amazing to me. We have whole shows and series on certain channels that are all about chasing Bigfoot down. Every damn photo and every video of the Bigfoot. Even now, when we have camera phones that are so
amazing,
they're clear as hell. This kid still couldn't get a clear video of the Bigfoot. So I think maybe Bigfoot, whenever he shows up, just automatically that makes your camera fuzzy. That's all I can think of. And in this day and age, really, we still are talking about this. We're still talking about Bigfoot. I don't know. I think we should stop and all focus on soccer. That's what I say. All right. Until the next time on the Straight Red Card. For Brett, this is Derek. Good night.